Hello, person who chose to watch this video. I am really just a guy trying to make the best what if fanfiction here on YouTube. And this one is part 5 on what if Carrie from the Stephen King book Carrie met Andrew, Matt, and Steve from the 2012 movie Chronicle. Now, so far, Carrie and Andrew Detmer actually have a great friendship. They both have a lot in common, and ever since they met each other, they feel like they can bear their seemingly unbearable lives, both at home and at school. And here in part 5 is where I feel that their friendship towards each other has truly sealed, because I also feel that in this area is kind of a turning point for them. But let's not just talk about this whole thing and let the story speak for itself. So, by all means, let's go ahead and just get right into it.
Ch5, someone who understands. Carrie and Andrew's behavior has shown significant changes. From the miserable and fearful dread of their school lives and their home lives, to a more happier and optimistic demeanor. Andrew's father noticed his more positive and hopeful behavior lately, and it infuriates him. He doesn't normally care much about Andrew, but seeing him walk around with a smile on his face annoys the hell out of him. But he wasn't the type to admit it. And Andrew, for the first time in a long time, feels a little more hopeful despite everything else going wrong in his life. He feels that being around Steve and Carrie makes it all bearable. And the same with Carrie. Her mother doesn't mind seeing her daughter with a more positive and upbeat attitude, but Margaret grows more and more suspicious of her. Carrie started to like going to school more, Chris Hargensen and her friends aside. She loved spending time with Matt, Steve, and Andrew. Especially with Andrew, who seems to talk to her the most, and for the first time, ever, she feels like she belongs somewhere. Finally finding some people that can relieve the stressful burdens of being teased by Chris Hargensen, and her boyfriend Billy Nolan, and the rest of her friends. And it's somewhat relieving to her to open up to other people other than her mother. She loves her mother, but she doesn't want her to be the only person in her life she can turn to. Sometimes, she just wants to go out and talk to other people. She may be a little new at it, but she likes it a lot. Another weekend, Carrie sneaks out of her window to hang out with Matt, Steve, and Andrew. They were all talking and laughing together until Matt received a text. "Aw, guys, I got to go, I almost forgot, it's my mom's birthday, today." "Really?" Andrew asked, surprised. "It's Aunt Deb's birthday today?" "Yeah, I gotta go." Then Matt jumped and took off in the air. "Tell her I said hi," Andrew said loudly. "Later, Matt," Steve shouted. "Bye," Carrie said loudly. "All right, so what are you guys want to do now?" Steve asked Andrew and Carrie. "I don't know, I know I don't want to go home," Andrew said. "Yeah," Carrie said in a low, sad voice. "Oh. You guys want to go into the city?" Andrew asked. "Yeah," Carrie answered excitedly. "Yeah, but it's rush hour, guys, there's going to be so much traffic," Steve pointed out. Andrew smiled. "So what? Andrew asked. Hell yeah, that's right, duh. Steve chuckled. Carrie smiled as they took to the sky. A local park, Wayne and Sean. Hey, Wayne. Sean called out while he was tagging a wall. Yeah. Have you noticed that lately, that Andrew has been hanging around that Carrie girl from the girls' locker room? Sean asked. Yeah, it seems like he's trying to hook up with someone who's as much of a loser as he is. Wayne said. Do you think he has a shot with her? Sean asked. No way, even girls like Carrie have standards. Wayne answered. Sean gave a small chuckle. Well, that's just one more person we can have fun with at school. Sean said. Yeah. And make him look bad in front of her. Wayne said mischievously. Though, as much as I enjoy messing with Andrew, I'm not sure if we should mess with Carrie too. Wayne said to Sean's surprise. Why not? It's not like he's gonna do anything about it. Sean pointed out. I know, but I'd just rather not pick on girls. Wayne said. No offense, but I am a little surprised that you're hesitant when it comes to Carrie. Andrew's already a little bitch himself, what makes Carrie any different? Sean asked. Carrie's a girl, man. I get what you're saying about Andrew, I can say and do whatever I want to him and laugh about it because he's a guy. But Carrie's a girl, and she has her own problems to deal with. I'm sure she doesn't need two guys walking up to her and slapping her around. I'm sure she already has enough to deal with, and so do I, Wayne said, the rest accidentally slipped out. What do you mean by that? Sean asked. Nothing, just forget I said anything. Wayne said. He finally finished what he was drawing. It was a woman's face with a bloody nose, a black eye, and bruises all over her face, and she looked like she was about to burst into tears. With Christine, Billy, and Tina. A red sports car drove up and stopped in a screech. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he lost his license. Christine said humorously. Then why's he still driving? Tina said. I don't need a license cause they can't even catch me. Billy answered in arrogant cockiness. Christine and Tina were rushing upstairs. Jackie's email. Jackie's email. Christine kept saying as she was running up the stairs. As Christine and Tina flopped on the bed, they both fought over the laptop. Chris, no. No. Tina said, trying to pull the laptop away from Christine. I'm just going to check his emails, girl. Christine said, trying to convince her to let it go. No. No. Tina kept saying. Wait. Do you think we're going to get detention for that? Cause that would suck. Tina asked. No. They should be thanking us for helping her get through her first period. Christine said with conceit. I got her a tampon, so what? She stated as if she did something right and it was no big deal. We were only trying to help her, right? Tina said with the same level of conceit in her voice. We should post it? Christine said. For a moment there was silence. Billy laughed a little, then Christine rushed to her laptop. No, I'm in it, Tina complained. Relax, no one's going to see you, Tina. Christine said. Tina began to chuckle. What are you doing, Chris? Tina asked as she typed in Carrie White, then she clicked upload. And as it was loading up on YouTube, she also typed in the description box Bloody Mary. Tina chuckled again. Favorite movie or favorite drink? Billy asked with a laugh. Oh, shut up. Christine said as she crawled up on top of Billy. Oh hey, guys. Tina said, getting her friend and Billy's attention. Did you notice that Carrie has a new friend now? Yeah. Christine said. I never thought anyone would want to be her friend. Christine said coldly. Yeah, but the way he's been acting around her, I think he might have a crush on her. Tina guessed. Christine chuckled. Wait. Who are we talking about? Billy asked. Some weirdo with a camera at school is friends with Carrie now. Tina explained. Why should we care? Billy asked. That's just one more person for Chris to have fun with, right? Billy asked, playfully kissing Christine's neck. Yeah, that's how I see it too, just one more weirdo to have fun with, and besides, who wouldn't want to beat the shit out of some nerd with a camera? Christine says, slightly amused. Tina chuckled again. Atop the Golden Gate Bridge. Dude. When did you start doing this? Steve asked, surprised. What? With the camera? Andrew asked. Yes, with the camera. Steve said, almost desperately wanting to know. I don't know. A little while, I guess. Andrew answered. I can't do that. I can't do stuff that requires finesse. I tried to type my name out and I cracked my keyboard in half. Steve said. No man, it's really easy, just imagine yourself holding it. Andrew tried to explain. Well, for me, I just concentrate and imagine it moving and it moves. Carrie said. Really? Andrew asked, looking up at Carrie with a smile. Carrie nodded. Well, we all have different methods that work for us. Andrew said. That's what I'm talking about right there. Steve said. What do you mean? Carrie asked. You two just keep thinking of new shit that we can do, guys. Yeah. Andrew said with a laugh. Steve and Carrie also laughed playfully. Yeah. Yes, I guess that we are. Andrew said with a smile. Woo-oh. Andrew shouted. Y-o-o-o-o-o-o-u-u-o-o-o-u-u-o-u. Steve howled. Carrie giggled. Woohoo. Carrie also howled, wanting to join in. Andrew and Steve laughed and gave her a pat on the back. That was great, Carrie. Andrew said, smiling at her. They were all talking and laughing and having a great time. Andrew and Steve drinking some soda from Baskin-Robbins, and Carrie eating some Oreo ice cream. Though a little later, their talks started to get more serious. Well, things at home aren't the same anymore. My mom is never home anymore, and you've seen how my dad is, he's just quiet. Sits around. And it's pointless to talk to him about it because he's got nothing to say. Steve said in a melancholy manner. I get what you're saying, and I understand. But it's different, 'cause you have friends and people that want to talk to you and be around you. I never had that, Andrew said sadly. Me neither. Carrie thought. I mean, before any of this happened, I barely hung out with Matt, and he's my cousin. We were close when we were little, but in high school, I don't know, everything changed. As Carrie was looking at the two boys, she realizes how wrong her mother was about boys. She was so used to the immature, idiotic boys at school making inappropriate gestures, and snide inappropriate remarks to her. But listening to Andrew and Steve, she wondered if this is how boys really are. A little while later, Andrew asked while lying down, have either of you been to the Space Tatum? Yeah, when I was 5, it's for tourists. Steve said. No, I've never really been anywhere. Even when I was a little girl. Carrie said. Andrew looked up at Carrie and gave a sad nod. Well, I went there when I think I was 7, with my dad one time, and I don't know, but it was actually a really good day. Andrew said. Steve raised an eyebrow. You remember that? He asked Andrew. Yeah. Actually, I do. Andrew said as he smiled in thought. Carrie was staring down at the driving cars below them. You know, I've been meaning to ask you too. Winter break is coming up, you both should do the talent show. Sorry I can't. Said Carrie. No way. Andrew said. Why not? It would be good for you two to get out there, and meet some people. No, it's just I'm not. Come on man, what is it? Steve asked. Look, I'm just really shy. Andrew said. And my mom would probably kill me. Just hanging out with you guys would get me in a lot of trouble with her. Carrie said. And I don't even have any talents. Andrew said. What are you talking about? You have talent. Steve said reassuringly. Guys, you both have talent. Steve said, gesturing to the floating camera. I don't know. I'll think about it, okay. Andrew said. Me too. Carrie said. At Andrew's house. The day of the talent show. Andrew slowly spun around to show his mother what he was wearing. You look handsome. His mother said with a cough. Thanks, Mom. Yes. Steve let me borrow some of his clothes, you know, to make me look cool and handsome for the talent show. Andrew said to his mother with a bright smile. I'm glad you're spending so much time with your friends. Karen said. Yeah. Andrew said with a smile and a light laugh. Yeah, me too. As Andrew walked downstairs, he was about to open the door, when his father called him. Hey. Richard barked. What? How are you getting to school? His father asked. I don't know what you mean. Andrew answered. Don't bullshit me, you idiot. He said in a low, angry tone. Matt doesn't come, he doesn't drive up. When you leave the house, who the hell keeps giving you rides to school? He asked again, but more sternly. Matt. Andrew simply answered. You know what, you're lying. He said while sitting up and turning to Andrew. You're up to something. And you can't hide it? He said to Andrew with a glare. You think you can just sneak in and out of the house smiling and I wouldn't notice? He said with a slight chuckle. I'm onto you. I'm onto your shit. At Carrie's house, same time. Carrie was wearing a light brown dress and a long-sleeve sweater jacket. She took one last look in the mirror and for the first time ever, she looked at her reflection and liked what she saw. She noticed that her hair was in a braid, so she undid the braid and let her hair down. Better. She thought as she let out a delightful laugh. As she maintained her smile, she looked down in thought, I never thought having friends would make me feel so good. Steve, Andrew, and that guy Matt have been the best things that have ever happened to me since I found out I can make things move with my mind. I think everything is going to get better now. Carrie thought as she smiled at her reflection one last time and walked out. As Carrie walked downstairs to see her mother passed out near her sewing machine, she felt a little bad for lying to her, but she knew that her mother wouldn't approve of her having 3 friends that are boys. And they've all grown to mean so much to her. Especially Andrew, who seems to have paid her the most attention, and he, to an extent, understands what she's going through. Carrie, being the sweet girl that she is, went over and kissed her mother on the forehead before whispering, I'm sorry, Mama. Then quickly went back upstairs, stuffed some pillows under her bed sheets to look like she was in her bed, opened her window, and took to the sky before taking one last glance at her room. But not before shutting the window behind her. At school, in the auditorium, Andrew was behind a curtain backstage watching a band playing. They're pretty good. Andrew thought. Where's Carrie? Steve asked worriedly. I don't know. Maybe she's on her way. Andrew answered calmly, but felt just as worried as Steve. All right, you two have one more performer after this one before you two are up. Let's just hope she makes it in time. Steve said. Yeah. Andrew said in a low, sad, and worried voice. Andrew sat down on a tall crate and tried to remain as calm as possible. Then after the band stopped playing, Steve announces the next performers. They were a group of girls dancing provocatively. Andrew closed his eyes and thought really hard about Carrie, and the words "please hurry" were all he said in his head as he was thinking about Carrie. Then to Andrew's surprise, Carrie stumbled in, and called his name a few times. "I'm here. I'm here, Carrie," Andrew said, trying to reassure Carrie. "Andrew." Carrie exhaled as she finally bumped into him. "You made it just in time. There's just one more performer and then we're on," Andrew said with relief and enthusiasm. Andrew?" Carrie asked. "Yeah," Andrew answered with a raised eyebrow. "When I was trying to find you, the strangest thing happened," Carrie said. What do you mean?" Andrew asked curiously. "It was almost like I could hear you or something. I don't know, I can't really explain it." Carrie tries to explain to Andrew. Andrew looked down in thought and remembered that she was in a state of panic and all he could think about was Carrie and how much he wanted her to get there. "Let's hear it for my seniors, class of 2012. Steve asked the audience as they all erupted with cheer and applause. "Look y'all, I know you won't be all that impressed with the next performers, but I promise you, you all be surprised and amazed. So please give it up for the two very talented Carrie White and Andrew Detmer," Steve announced. In the audience, Matt recording the show with Andrew's camera. "Hey Casey," Matt said to her. "You might want to get this on camera," he said. "And you're on," Matt thought out loud as Andrew and Carrie stepped out of a cardboard lion's mouth. "Wait. What are you doing?" Casey asked. "Are you playing some kind of prank on your cousin and that Carrie girl?" Casey asked, almost outraged. Matt simply giggled at Casey and rolled his eyes at her. "That's mean, Matt," Casey stated. "Just keep watching and recording," Matt said to her. Andrew pulled out a deck of cards and showed Carrie and the audience. "What's he doing?" Casey asked, confused. "Just keep watching," Matt simply said. Andrew gestures to Carrie to pick a card, then as Steve walked by, he bumped into Andrew's arm, causing the cards to fall all over the stage, making the audience laugh. "That's nice, Matt. Real nice," Casey said sarcastically. "Just keep watching," Matt said. Then Carrie held out her hand, and all the cards flew back into her hand, holding them up for the audience to see. "No way," Casey said in surprise. Then Andrew took a few steps back, held out his hand, and all the cards that were in Carrie's hand flew into Andrew's. "Oh my God. How are they doing that?" Casey asked in bewilderment. "Magic," Matt answered. Then, Carrie and Andrew were juggling different colored balls between each other, and the crowd cheered louder. Then before they knew it, someone tried to randomly throw an egg at Carrie, but instead, it flew up to her and joined the rest of the balls in the juggling. As their juggling went higher and higher, both Carrie and Andrew stopped and all the other balls that were already thrown into the air were frozen up there. The crowd cheered louder again. Then Andrew went over to give Carrie a bottle of water. Then when Carrie unscrewed the cap off of the bottle Andrew gave her, she tried to pour the water out of the bottle, though it took a moment or two for the water to spill out. The water slowly came out and started floating in the air. Though Andrew was picking out of the air all of the different colored balls that he and Carrie were juggling, Andrew and Steve could not help but stare in awe at the floating water. Neither Andrew nor Steve noticed that the remaining balls that were still hovering in the air fell to the stage. Andrew and Steve walked to Carrie while laughing in wondrous amazement. "This is so amazing, Carrie," Andrew said in amazement. "I know I keep saying this to you two, but Emma, just go ahead and say it again. You two just keep coming up with new shit that we can do," Steve said in both excitement and amazement. Then the water moved over the audience as they all stood up to run their fingers through it to see if it was real. Then it suddenly dropped all over them. A few moaned bitterly, but everyone else erupted in applause and excitement. "Oh my God, those two are so amazing," Casey said in amazement. "All right everybody, make some noise for Andrew Detmer and Carrie White," Steve said as he gestured to them, to the audience. Andrew raised his hands victoriously, and Carrie just gave a happy, cheerful courtesy. After the talent show was all over, Matt, Steve, and even Casey were there to congratulate him. "All right? Yeah man, that was awesome. You and Carrie were so amazing," they all said to Andrew, giving him congratulatory pats on the back and ruffling his hair. Yeah, where is Carrie?" Andrew asked. "I think she went home," Steve answered. "Look, who cares about that right now? If Carrie's not coming, then that means you're the man of the hour, man. You've got to come to this party with us," Matt said, feeling excited for Andrew. Andrew pulled himself away. "No guys, I think I'm just going to go ahead and go. I don't really feel like partying," Andrew said. "Come on man, the party's for you," Steve said. "Sorry guys, I just don't feel like it," Andrew said as he walked away. "Wait, you're just going to let him walk home? It's dark out," Casey pointed out. "Don't worry, he can take care of himself. Yeah, he's stronger than he looks. Whoever messes with him will be in for a surprise," Steve said confidently. "Yeah, but he's your cousin," Casey said loudly. But they both casually went to their cars and drove off. Casey sighed and rolled her eyes. "Dicks," Casey mumbled. As Andrew was flying through the sky, he was slowly and thoroughly looking around, hoping to see Carrie flying around as well. Then to his surprise, he saw a redhead that he assumed was Carrie flying/sneaking in an upstairs window. Andrew flew down to look in and saw Carrie taking out a bunch of pillows that were under the sheets of her bed, making it look like someone was already in it. Carrie looked up towards her window and to her surprise, she saw Andrew floating right in front of it. Andrew gave a wave. Though Carrie blushed a little, she rushed to the window, opened it, and whispered in a low, frantic voice, "What are you doing here?" "Well, I didn't want to go home and I didn't want to go to that after party. At least, not without you." Carrie blushed brighter and a small grin started to develop a little bit. That's sweet of you, but I can't have company right now. And my mom would especially hate it if she saw me with a boy," Carrie pointed out. "She sounds a bit overprotective," Andrew said. "You have no idea," Carrie mumbled. "Well, if I can't come in, will you come with me?" Andrew asks while holding out a hand to her. Though reluctant and hesitant at first, she took Andrew's hand and they both took to the sky. Though they weren't really seeing anything new, they both felt like they were experiencing all of it for the first time, cause they were enjoying it with someone, something neither of them truly had the chance to do. "Sorry, if it's a bit cold up here," Andrew said. "I just wanted to show you a nice night," he finished. "It's okay, I made sure to grab something warm," Carrie said, looking back at Andrew with a smile. "And it's beautiful up here," she said. Andrew smiled back and felt his heart lift with happiness. "I'm glad you like it," he said somewhat nervously. I never really took a girl anywhere, I was just hoping, up here would be good enough. I don't really have any money to take you anywhere else," he said. "Allowance problems," Carrie guessed. "Yeah, something like that," Andrew said reluctantly. "What do you mean?" Carrie asked. "Well, I remember telling you and Steve about my dad. But I never felt that I could tell anyone about this till now. I told you my dad used to be a firefighter. Well, my mom got cancer when I was 12, so all the money we have has to go to my mom's medication," Andrew said in a low, melancholy manner. Carrie nodded in understanding. "Sorry," Carrie said. "It's all right, she's hanging in there," Andrew lied as he remembered his mother screaming in pain a few nights ago. "Well, at least they allow you to go somewhere," Carrie said. "What do you mean?" Andrew asked. "My mom never lets me go anywhere," Carrie said sadly. just to school and back. Sometimes, I feel like I spend too much time with my mother. We're always praying and reading the Bible together. Other than that, she just thinks that everything is a sin. Carrie said. She even thought the period incident in the girls' locker room was my fault. Carrie said while angrily rolling her eyes. Andrew raised an eyebrow. At first, she sounded like a helicopter parent, but she sounds terrible blaming that on you. Andrew said. Carrie gave a slow sad nod. Do your parents ever tell you to be different 'cause the Lord will punish you, then hits you over the head with the Bible? Carrie asked. Andrew was silent for a moment. Well, nothing like that, but I do know a little of what that's like. Andrew said in sad understanding. To have a parent hit you with something. Andrew said. What do you mean? Carrie asked. It's my dad, he gets drunk and gets kind of rough, you know? Carrie gave a slow sad nod. I get it. Carrie said. I'm sorry. I really am, but it's kind of reassuring to know that I'm not the only one who has it bad at both school and at home. Carrie said. Don't be, I kind of felt the same way. Andrew said. I mean, even after this happened to me, Matt, and Steve. Matt barely took an interest in me, and he's my cousin. Andrew said. I remember what you said last time we were sitting on the bridge. Carrie said. You said that you two were friends when you were kids, but when you guys got into high school, he paid less and less attention to you, right? Carrie asked. Andrew nodded. Andrew looked up and smiled at Carrie. All the more reason why I'm glad I found you. Andrew said in a nervous but meaningful way. I feel the same way. Before I knew you and the other two boys, I felt pretty alone. I mean, I love my mom and she's all I have, but I don't like the idea of her being the only one I can turn to. I may be new at this whole talking to people thing, but I like it a lot, Carrie said sincerely. They both smiled at each other and hugged each other. Carrie put her head on Andrew's shoulder, and Andrew just kissed Carrie's forehead softly, and gently put his head on hers. As they both thought, I know that yesterday was the greatest time in my life, and at first I thought that nothing could ever compare to that. But right here, right now, I can definitely say this is without a doubt the best night of my life. And I don't want it to ever end. They thought.
End of part 5. I gotta be honest. The reason why I didn't post anything on last month is because I honestly was taking a break from posting anything. Don't get me wrong, I actually was trying to work on something. Matter of fact, I was actually typing some stuff, though there were some days where I was just doing nothing, but I wasn't doing absolutely nothing the whole time. I actually thought of some other fan stories and crossovers that I could post up after I'm finished with this one. Crossovers between, well, maybe I shouldn't spoil you guys the what I'm going to be crossing over, because to be honest, I think I'm going to leave that as a surprise. But point being, the point, about right now is, right now I am actually still working on part 6. It might not be posted up in a while, but I promise you it will be posted up sometime this month. And I'm sorry for the long wait about this one. I thought part 4 was a long wait. But still, please know that I am enjoying this. It's just that I'm the only one doing the editing and recordings and all of that. I have very limited resources, and I'm not entirely sure who would want to help me do this, even for fun, because this is honestly, honestly just doing this for free, and I'm not really making any money off of this. So, yeah. Non-profit organization, blah, blah, blah. Not an organization, but you know what I'm talking about. Don't really get paid for this, doing it for fun, blah, blah, blah. Point is that I hope you guys are still enjoying this because I am gonna make other parts. Don't necessarily know when I'm gonna be done with this. Just going where the story takes me. But please know that there will be a part 6 coming your way. Don't know when I'll be done or when I'm gonna post it, but it will be coming. So know that, yeah, that's gonna come, and I'm actually working on some other interesting stuff. And stuffy nose, sorry. But I do want to give some shout outs to the usual Crazy Amanda, hope you're listening, and Tessa from Mama's Geeky, and I'm actually wondering if she actually saw any of these. Amanda, if you're listening, tell her to start from part 1 if she hasn't seen any of these already. And that's about the only few people I can think of that actually pay attention to these. And I'm sorry for the comments not being turned on my last one. Hopefully they'll be turned on this time. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with typing out part 6, and hope you enjoyed it. So goodbye, everyone.